Hi, I'm Kelly O'Connor with Financial Caffeine. If you just purchased my audiobook, it should be waiting for you in your inbox. If you haven't done that yet, we will have some links so that you can do so. I have two things for you, kind of a loophole, something of value for you. I'll mention that here in just a moment. And then a quick conversation that's one of the underlying themes of my audiobook that I think you'll find interesting. I call it the check story. And it's an example about borrowing money from the Mafia, and I'm wondering if you're doing so right now. My guess is, believe it or not, you are. Stick with me. Okay, so this conversation, as I mentioned, I call the check story. Now let's pretend for a moment that you need money. You need it pretty bad, like something's happening and you need $50,000. And you have exhausted all of the resources from your financial pie. The banks have turned you down, friends and family say no. But you sit down, we kind of reminisce, and then you get into your story, and I listen, right? I'm sitting there listening to you, and I don't say a word, but what I do when you're done is I pull out my checkbook, I write you a $50,000 check, but in the memo line, in big old letters, I write loan. And then I slide that check over the table. There's going to be two things you want to know about that loan. What are those two things? I'm pretty confident you got it right. Most people do. You said, well, I want to know the terms, and I definitely want to know the interest rate. And here's what I say. I say, look, I know you're hurting. So at some point in the future, we'll figure out what the terms are at that point. Once you're back to running, you cool with that? And you might be a little bit hesitant, but it's true. You are hurting. You don't want to be subject to any heavy structured payments. So you're willing to consider it. But here's what I say about the interest rate. At some point in time in the future, when I have an understanding of what my needs are and what I want, I'll determine an interest rate then and make it retroactive to today. How would you feel about that loan? Now see, I'm very confident. You say, well, that's horrible. And you're right, because what I just described was the worst debt imaginable. Debt with unknown terms and unknown rates. There's no way you would take that. Now what I just described perfectly, actually to a T, is the most common financial vehicle used by people today. Any guesses? What I just described, let's look at this as a little bucket of money. What I just described was a 401k or an IRA or a SEP or a 403b. What I just described, let's just call it, was a 401k. Now, how is that possible? Well, let's dig into that. Let's pretend for a minute that you come into my office and you have a 401k with $1 million in it. Here's my first question I have for everybody in this example or in this situation. How much of that $1 million is yours? You see, you don't know. You've had a partner riding along all the time on this account. Why? Because they haven't taken their share. It's the taxes. It's the IRS. It's our government. They have not taken their share of taxes out of this account. And here's the unknown interest rate. How much are they going to take? Do you know? Of course not. We do know right now, today, if you were to take a distribution from it, if you were past the age of 59 and a half, you see they own the terms. If you're younger than 59 and a half, you can't touch it without a penalty. They ensure they get more taxes collected. But can they change the terms? There are age limits there. There are required minimum distributions. Can those things change? You bet. They can totally change how you get money out of it at any point in time based upon their needs. But how much are they going to take? If we had to do it today and you were old enough, we would know because we know today's taxes. But do we know next year's? The year after that? The year after that? Think of it this way. These are retirement accounts. And that means it's supposed to get you all the way out to life expectancy. We don't even know the tax rates year 2, let alone 3, 4, 5, 6, and on and on and on for 30 years. So the only answer you could give me when I said how much of this is yours, the only answer you could give me was, I don't know. Oops. Let me do that again. is I don't know. You see, this is a huge, huge problem. And it creates a situation to where there's no exit strategy that is an effective way to get down the mountain. Now, in my audiobook, I go into great detail on the strategies around this in order to actually create an exit plan, a distribution that is as tax exempt as possible. Now, if you've downloaded or if you've purchased that already, it's ready in your inbox for a download. If you haven't, we've got the links for you to do so. And I mentioned something of value. I charge $500 for somebody to meet with me, and it's a lot of people do. I have a lot of people looking, finding me, and I use that as kind of a buffer because I just can't meet with anybody. I wish I could, but I can't. So I charge $500, and some people come straight through and they want to meet with me, but I have a ton of conversations that I have to go through in detail with them. But if you get my audiobook and go through those, then we have a chance to have already had some of those discussions. And I want to honor that with you, that you made a commitment to do so. So in my audiobook, I have a special code that when it comes time to get on my calendar and complete my little one-page application, you can use that code, and I waive that $500 meeting fee completely, 100%. I really hope that if you've got it, you go and start listening to it. If not, you grab it, and then I can see you on my calendar. Hopefully I can meet you soon.